What happens when a routine traffic stop turns into a power struggle? Or when an officer tries to restrict your right to film them in public? These situations can be stressful, but what if you knew exactly how to handle them? Today's video explores real-life scenarios where citizens with a strong grasp of their rights used their intelligence to outsmart corrupt cops. We'll show you how knowledge is power and how understanding your rights can help you navigate tense interactions with law enforcement. So, grab a seat, hit that subscribe button, and get ready to learn. Let us start with the case of Chief Michael Chini. On September 17, 2022, Bay City Chief of Police Michael Chini confronted two teens, Parker Wan and Travis Kren, accusing them of disturbing the peace. The teens were just riding their scooters around a new monument. Chini, annoyed by their actions, decided to take action. However, what followed was a series of illegal actions on Chini's part. Chini approached the boys aggressively, accusing them of disturbing the peace and creating a disturbance. As the teens tried to explain their side, Chini struck Travis with his flashlight, which served as a source of power. Travis immediately recognized this and called out Chini, pointing out that what he had done was illegal. The situation escalated as Chini tried to frighten the teens by flashing his badge and asserting his authority, hoping they would back down. However, Parker and Travis were aware of their rights. They knew that Chini had no right to assault them, even if they were disturbing the peace. When Travis mentioned calling the police, Chini tried to fake his way out by emphasizing his position as the chief of police. The teens stood their ground, recording the entire incident. They insisted that Chini had committed battery and refused to leave until other officers arrived. When the other officers showed up, Chini's attitude changed. He tried to justify his actions by creating a story, claiming he was defending himself because the boys were being aggressive and damaging property. Chini stated that he was off duty at home when he heard the noise and decided to handle the situation himself. However, the teens' video evidence contradicted his claims. The footage clearly showed Chini approaching them aggressively and assaulting Travis without provocation. As a result, the truth came to light. The recording provided indisputable evidence that Chini had overstepped his authority. Despite Chini's efforts to portray the teens as the troublemakers, the video showed they were simply riding their scooters and that he had escalated the situation unnecessarily. Ultimately, Chini was charged with assault and abuse. This incident cost him his position as Bay City's public safety director and chief of police. The case highlights the importance of knowing one's rights and the power of video evidence in holding law enforcement accountable. Parker and Travis's decision to record the incident and stand up to Chini's intimidation played a crucial role in ensuring justice was served. Now let's move towards the case of Officer Nathan Winters. On August 28, 2022, Tav Galanakis was pulled over by Officer Nathan Winters in Newton for driving with his bright lights on. Galanakis, who had a headlight out, explained that he was using his high beams to compensate. However, Winters was not interested in Galanakis' explanation. He began questioning him extensively and requested his license and registration. As Winters approached the vehicle, he claimed to smell alcohol and noticed Galanakis' eyes were watery and bloodshot. Despite Galanakis' insistence that he had not been drinking, Winters was convinced he was under the influence. The officer's behavior became increasingly aggressive as he asked Galanakis about drugs, alcohol, and even if he had bombs in his car. Winters then asked Galanakis to step out of the car for a series of sobriety tests. Galanakis confidently agreed, repeatedly asking for a breathalyzer test to prove his sanity. Winters, however, continued with field sobriety tests, such as the walk and turn and the one-leg stand. Despite Galanakis' flawless performance on these tests, Winters still refused to administer a breathalyzer. Galanakis, growing frustrated, documented the encounter on his phone, mocking the officer's persistence and trying to prove he was intoxicated. After several sobriety tests, Winters finally agreed to administer the breathalyzer. The results showed a 0.0 blood alcohol level, indicating that Galanakis was indeed sober. Despite this, Winters read Galanakis his legal rights and proceeded to arrest him, now suspecting that he might be under the influence of drugs. Galanakis protested, insisting that he had neither consumed alcohol nor drugs. Winters' persistence in pursuing an arrest, despite clear evidence to the contrary, showed a misuse of police authority and a lack of respect for the suspect's rights. At the police station, Galanakis was subjected to a drug test, which also came back negative. With no evidence of intoxication, the charges against him were baseless. Winters' actions demonstrated a prejudiced approach, assuming guilt without cause and failing to follow proper procedure when clear evidence of sobriety was presented. This case underscores the importance of proper police training in handling traffic stops and sobriety checks. It also highlights the necessity for individuals to know their rights and the value of recording interactions with law enforcement. Galanakis' decision to document his encounter helped reveal the officer's inappropriate conduct and prevented an unjust arrest. Now comes the case of Officer Alby and the traffic stop. On March 27, 2023, a man was observing a police traffic stop from a distance when Officer Alby approached him, claiming he was too close to the scene. The man, aware of his rights, questioned Alby, asking for her name and badge number. Alby initially refused, but after some insistence, she provided her badge number. Despite complying with the man's request, Alby continued to insist that he move further away. The man remained calm and asserted his right to observe the police activity from a reasonable distance, as established by the Supreme Court. The officer, seemingly unaware of this ruling, continued to pressure him to leave, which he resisted. As the situation escalated, more officers arrived on the scene. Officer Robinson and another officer, identified as Officer Love, also demanded that the man step back. The man again requested their names and badge numbers, which they reluctantly provided. He continued to stand his ground, pointing out that his presence was not interfering with their duties and that he was well within his rights to observe. Throughout the encounter, the man remained composed and respectful, emphasizing that he was there to ensure transparency and accountability. The officers, unable to legally force him to move further away, eventually left him alone. This interaction highlights the importance of public awareness of legal rights when dealing with law enforcement and the necessity for officers to respect these rights. The incident also underscores the tension that can arise between citizens and police officers when there is a lack of understanding or respect for legal boundaries. The man's calm and informed approach helped de-escalate the situation, ensuring that his rights were not violated while also demonstrating the importance of accountability in policing. Ending up with the case of the Franek family. On September 29, 2023, a confrontation between the Franek family and the police escalated quickly. The situation began when Jack Franek was riding his gas-powered bike around his neighborhood, causing some annoyance among neighbors. One neighbor threatened Jack, leading his father, Michael Franek, to step in and argue with the neighbor. Another neighbor, suspecting that Michael had a weapon, called the police. When the police arrived, they demanded that Michael step outside to answer their questions. Michael refused, asking the officers for their names and badge numbers, which they ignored. The officers continued to press him to step outside, and when Michael stood his ground, they forcibly entered the house, leading to a physical altercation. During the struggle, Michael was dragged outside, despite being unarmed and not posing any immediate threat. His son, Jack, recorded the entire incident on his phone, capturing the officers' excessive use of force and their refusal to provide identification. Even as Michael was being arrested, Jack insisted on recording, highlighting the officers' inappropriate conduct. The police tried to justify their actions by claiming Michael had resisted arrest and had a concealed weapon, even though he had a valid permit for it. The officers' actions were a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment, which protects citizens from unreasonable searches and seizures. Michael's refusal to leave his home without a warrant was within his rights, and the police's forced entry was unlawful. As the officers continued to manhandle Michael, Jack's video evidence played a crucial role in documenting the incident. Despite attempts by the police to take Jack's phone and prevent him from recording, he persisted, ensuring that the unlawful actions were captured on camera. This case emphasizes the importance of knowing and exercising one's constitutional rights. It also highlights the role of video recordings in holding law enforcement accountable. The Franek family's experience serves as a reminder of the potential for police overreach and the necessity for transparency and accountability in law enforcement practices. These examples highlight the importance of understanding one's legal rights when dealing with law enforcement. Knowledge can serve as a powerful tool to hold authorities accountable and ensure justice prevails.